I'm not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
Troy Baker is an American voice actor best known for his work in video games, animation, and anime. He has voiced several iconic characters, including The Last of Us' Joel Miller, which is potentially my favorite gaming character of all time. But he also voices Booker DeWitt in BioShock Infinite, which was awesome, Joker in Batman Arkham Origins, and Batman in the Batman Telltale series. So there's a lot more iconic characters, and one that comes to mind is his small cameo in God of War 2018, which really gives me goosebumps every single time that I see it.
Surrender. The All-Father demands it. No.
But Troy Baker is just one of the greats when it comes to voice characters in the world of entertainment. And I would say that he's probably the most in demand and best voice actor out there today. He always delivers, and he is a true character actor. I find it fascinating that 11 years ago, he was brought in to work on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and he would portray the main character and also player character Jack Mitchell.
Why is one man spared while another taken? To this day, I couldn't give you an answer. But death comes for us all. Eventually. When you lose over 6,000 men in 4 hours, it's easy for one death to become just another number. But all I knew was my best friend was gone, and that part of me wished I had been taken instead. The dead, and they've settled their debts. It's up to the living to pick up the tab.
Now, Mitchell is a former US Marine who loses his left arm during a mission in South Korea. And after being discharged, he is recruited by the Atlas Corporation, a PMC, led by Jonathan Irons, who provides Mitchell with a cutting-edge exosuit and a new prosthetic arm, basically giving him a second chance at life. Now, as the story unfolds, Mitchell becomes disillusioned with Atlas after discovering Irons' true intentions of global domination. He eventually joins the Sentinel Task Force to take down Atlas and stop Irons. So there you have to portray a character that is pretty complex and goes through a series of emotions. I definitely think that bringing someone of the caliber of Baker was intentional and almost needed. You see, the campaign of Advanced Warfare feels like a movie. And when you look at the cutscenes, it's apparent that they shot this like a drama or maybe a flick about politics. You know, just something very Hollywood-y. But it's so different really that no other COD really did these cutscenes before AW or after AW. And one of my favorite things about the game is that Baker was going to voice the main character, and that's why I was so excited to play it. So when I did finally play it, it just felt like the game had a higher production value or a higher production quality just by having Troy Baker attached to the project. I think Sledgehammer needed an actor with experience in great voice acting, but also motion capture, which was really picking up by 2014 in video games. And Troy already had his experience in motion capture work with God of War Ascensions and his work on The Last of Us, so it seemed like a natural fit. When you go to Hollywood and get one of their best, an all-time great actor, an all-time great character actor, like Kevin Spacey, who is a two-time Oscar winner with a career spanning decades, a person like that may put some fear into other, maybe less accomplished or known voice actors. So Sledgehammer needed to bring the best in their field, and they went and got the best that their industry had to offer, which was Troy Baker. And he went head-to-head with Spacey, and honestly, Baker more than delivered. Not once did I feel like he was out-acted. Some critics believe that his portrayal of Mitchell gave Advanced Warfare one of the more memorable campaigns in Call of Duty history. They noted that Baker brought more personality and emotional weight to Mitchell than most previous Call of Duty protagonists, thanks to his natural delivery and motion capture expressions. However, it wasn't all fantastic, as some felt that despite Baker's talent, Mitchell was not as compelling as other characters that Baker had played. This was mostly due to the Call of Duty structure, or the way that the campaign focuses on more action than deep character arcs. And to leave my script for a moment, my free thoughts on Troy Baker's performance as Jack Mitchell is just that he really did elevate the performance of a protagonist in Call of Duty games. He really did elevate the game just to feel a little higher, to feel a little better. When I went into the cutscenes, Troy Baker took over every single time that he was on screen speaking. He really did. He's so damn good at that. And when you have a guy who voiced Joe Miller, one of the best characters ever in gaming, who voiced so many iconic and great characters, of course he's gonna deliver in Call of Duty. He has to. And he brought his freaking A game, and I loved it. To explain myself better, it felt like I was plucked out of the Call of Duty world and put into a game created by somebody else. This wasn't really a Call of Duty game. This was a story-driven game created by another studio who does this stuff. And their sole focus was only the campaign and only the story. They didn't have online, they didn't have multiplayer, they didn't have none of that. That's what his performance made me feel like. It just made me feel like I was playing something else that wasn't Call of Duty, but it was really good. It was like really freaking good. And I wish that we had a little bit more of that because he really brought it. Troy Baker really brought it. And I'm going to point to one thing here. I'm currently playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3, but the main guy, the voice actor in that game, not that he's awful, but his performance is really bad. And when I look at that performance and I compare that performance to Troy Baker's character in Advanced Warfare, oh my God. Imagine having that guy in Advanced Warfare. Wild. But bringing it back to the script, the last thing that I want to touch on is how Sledgehammer, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Activision, whatever you want to call it, screwed it all up.
What do you mean by that?
So by this point, you can clearly see that I'm a fan of Baker and his portrayal of Mitchell and Advanced Warfare. And Advanced Warfare is one of my favorite campaigns in Call of Duty. But, when you have an actor like Baker in the game playing your main character, you have to use him. And you have to take advantage of the fact that he is there. And for all the things that Sledgehammer did right in this campaign, a disappointment for me is how Jack Mitchell only ever really speaks during cinematic cutscenes and is often or pretty much silent throughout the gameplay.
What's happening?
Notch is down. I need immediate medevac on my location.
No, it's Manicore. We gotta pull back. Get everyone out!
Gameplay. I just think that it would have worked so much more for him to speak and react to things that are happening around him. It just kind of didn't make sense to me that he spoke and was a huge part of the game and the cutscenes, but when we did missions or real-time cutscenes, he never really spoke. And it really took away from what could have been an even more iconic and memorable performance, to be honest. It really did take away from it. It just felt flat. When someone died that he cared about, he didn't speak if it was an in-game cutscene. It didn't make sense, and I really think that it was a massively missed opportunity. But Troy Baker gave one of my all-time favorite performances ever in Call of Duty. And I think that without him, Advanced Warfare would have been a lot less intriguing game. It would have lost a lot of its emotional weight. It would have lost a lot of that aura that the game had, in my opinion, of course. I think that Troy Baker is a wonderful character actor, and I would love to see him in a future Call of Duty game. He's clearly a fan of Call of Duty. He did some voice work for Modern Warfare 2, the remaster. Obviously, we know that he came out in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and there's so much more that he could do in the world of Call of Duty that I would love to see him back. And I would really love to see him in a Modern Warfare title. I know that that's crazy, but I would love to see Troy back, maybe playing a SEAL, maybe playing a Delta operator, maybe playing a Marine again, maybe playing somebody like that, like a real cool badass American soldier in the Modern Warfare series. I would love to see that.